I-95.5 FM, the most influential name in radio. Talk, news, sports. I-95.5 FM Trinidad and Tobago, covering all news, anywhere, anytime. Credible news, breaking news, groundbreaking talk. We are the leader in news and current affairs. I-95.5 FM. I-95.5 FM, the number one radio station for news, sports, and talk. I-95.5 FM Trinidad and Tobago, the most influential name in radio.
The world is watching, but can Trinidad and Tobago shock South Korea? This Saturday night, Destiny steps onto the pitch in Provo, Utah. Asian powerhouse South Korea, led by global superstar Sun Young-min, comes face-to-face with Caribbean passion in Trinidad and Tobago, led by explosive striker Dante Sealy.
Here comes the man himself, Kevin Molino. Pick the ball out to his right. It's a good pass. And finds Sealy. Sealy cuts into the right left foot. Sealy goes in. It's a goal! A brilliant goal by Dante Sealy.
Can TNT rise? Can the Warriors stun South Korea? Can Trinidad and Tobago shock the football world? The speed, the pressure, the pride of a nation on the line. And exclusively, when the action explodes, the one and only Dream Team is ready. Andre Batiste and Tony Lee will bring live commentary from 8:45 p.m. this Saturday, May 30th, live from Provo, Utah. Only on I-95.5 FM. Trinidad and Tobago versus South Korea. Can TNT surprise South Korea? This Saturday night, the world awaits the answer. Only on your sporting headquarters, I-95.5 FM. Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling. Amplia. Do more, live more. And Strictly Effects Event Design. We bring ideas to life.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for an unforgettable evening of music, memories, and magic. On Saturday, June 20th, the legendary Carol Addison returns to TNT for one spectacular Father's Day concert experience.
Politician from the Caribbean, field on their mission to Federation. Black Stalin say, Black Stalin say, academic standards increase, yet world leaders still can't inspire peace. Is more disarray. So we have to read between the lines and examine what the writing on the wall says societies are failing. Community or support collective interest, only focus on building wealth while breeding selfishness. If the system's devised for only a few to thrive, we have to change the system. Change the system. If we choose to compete and compare instead of cooperate and share, change the system. Change the system. If a few have wealth while many living under stress, we have to change the system. Change the system. If all we see is we and them, intolerance and conflict will never end. Change the system. Change the system. What we gotta do? Change the system. God. Of the nation, took the position to take from Britain the Constitution. We buy it wholesale. Buy it wholesale. But capitalism and slavery, fit for monarchy, not equality, that bound to fail. Because while the upper class keep on feathering their nest, the poor man keep dreaming dreams with life full of emptiness. It's not rocket science, you don't need a degree to realize that deviance is likely to come from the people who feel the in excess, while many living under stress. We have to change the system. Change the system. If all we see is we and them, tolerance and conflict will never end. Change the system. Change the system. What we gotta do? Change, 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 change the system. So you might think I'm joking, or even smoking, or even thinking somebody listening. A hopeless case. A hopeless case. You see, victims of brain conditioning never practice objective reasoning. Intellectual waste. So if perfection is something we can't conceive, at least we can ensure that we all aspire and achieve. We pave the roads which lead to conflict and dysfunction, and on that solid foundation we build a stronger nation. If the systems divide, for only a few to thrive, we have to change the system. What? Change the system. For we to show each other we really care, we must treat each other fair and square. Change the system. Change the system. If a few have wealth in excess, while many living under stress, we have to change the system. Change the system. If all we see is we and them, intolerance and conflict could never, never, change the system. What we gotta do? Change, 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 change the system. Good God. Hey. Let me look out for each other, man.
Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to our independency.
Trinidad and Tobago, welcome. And as you know, this is our independency. Right here on I-95.5, live on the Independency Facebook page and YouTube channel. While we change shift and get ready to get into our independency, very important program this morning, because recent events have sparked national conversations about policing and accountability here in Trinidad and Tobago.
And today we are shifting from our regularly scheduled program, but we're not discussing any matter before the courts, of course. Instead, we want to examine how police services around the world use technology, training, and accountability systems to reduce conflict and to build public confidence.
Now, before we get into that, however, we have an audience and we owe you an explanation.
Yes.
So, as you recently heard, there was a release, and Natasha, for those of you who didn't hear it, Natasha will share it with you this morning, because as you know, we were to have Mr. Christopher Samaru with us.
Yeah.
Now, I know that would have raised some eyebrows, and we knew that, but it's unfortunate that this release had to come before this program, because you all would have been pleasantly surprised the angle that we were going to take with that program, with him.
And if you had listened to the
And-
promo, you would have known the angle we were going at.
However,
But-
having had conversations with Mr. Samaru, and you don't believe the demeanor of that man, and he would have had you all laughing here today, because we were going to approach this, as you know, independency, we set our own pace, we cut our own tracks, so we didn't have to come and repeat what everybody was repeating for the entire week or a couple of weeks. However, it's incumbent on us to explain to you why we had to preempt this program this morning. And Natasha, for those of you who didn't hear the release from the DPP, Natasha will share it with you now, and we will chat again after this. But this program is for you this morning, because what we want to do, or what the angle we were going to approach is a learning experience, a teaching moment. And it's a teaching moment, especially for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And I hope that this time, that moment is embraced, and everyone in authority and everyone who's responsible for dispensing either with laws or dealing with the people of Trinidad and Tobago will understand how important it is to have that balance. Let Natasha share this release with you, and then we'll come back to further discussion.
So this press release was issued by the Director of Public Prosecutions, adverse pre-trial publicity, criminal charges arising out of the killing of Joshua Samaru. The regrettable killing of Joshua Samaru, the wounding of another person on the 20th of January 2026, and the subsequent charges arising therefrom have justifiably generated huge public interest, and this has been reflected and shaped by extensive coverage in the electronic, print, and social media. Many of the views expressed have been predicated upon the public's viewing of video footage which purports to cover the unfortunate events. That footage, among other things, prompted by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the TTPS, to conduct a criminal investigation. I'm aware that it has also triggered an investigation by the Police Complaints Authority, PCA. I have met and spoken with the PCA. On the completion of the investigation by the TTPS and my having perused the evidence garnered, inclusive of the evidence from the Forensic Science Center, I advise the TTPS to prefer several charges. Permit me to remind you that it is not within my constitutional remit to investigate any crime. Neither did I select or pick the evidentiary fruits presented to me by the TTPS. Please note that the laying of charges does not and cannot be equated with any finding of guilt. The presumption of innocence remains. Such a finding is not within my purview. It falls within the exclusive domain of the court. Nonetheless, the preferment of criminal charges in this matter has led to expressions of concern by members of the public protests, and the urge to have these charges tried in the public domain rather than in the correct legal forum, which is the court. In the circumstances, I am duty-bound to warn you that you are not to publish any material which has the potential to prejudice the right of the state or the right of any person charged in this matter to a fair trial. Further, I am mandated to do all in my power to ensure that the springs of justice remain undefiled and to curtail any prospect of objectionable publicity. In issuing this directive, I am mindful of the competing public interest factors which undergird our participative democracy, including freedom of the press, freedom of thought and expression, freedom of conscience, and the right to a fair hearing by an independent tribunal. In this country, the rule of law is a priceless asset and a foundation of our Constitution. A related hallmark and safeguard is open justice, which contemplates that criminal trials be conducted in public and only in the courts of the land rather than in the media. See Privy Council case of Boudram v. the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, 1996 to WLR 464. It is for these reasons I am unable to rehearse publicly the evidence unearthed by the TTPS. Accordingly, I trust that the media, inclusive of social media, will act responsibly and with the required dose of circumspection. A failure to be guided by this warning may render the media and those involved liable to contempt proceedings, since such conduct would constitute an unwelcome interference with the due administration of justice. And it is signed and stamped by Roger K. Gaspard, SC, Director of Public Prosecutions, May 29, 2026.
Thank you very much, Natasha. So there you have it, folks. The DPP has spoken, and as a responsible NGO, as a responsible program, we have to abide by what was requested. However, I wanted to say again that the direction we wanted to go with Mr. Samuel would have been different, because remember, he's also a victim, and he's a very cool guy, very nice demeanor, had us cracking up with the time we spent speaking with him. And so we were going to take it in a different direction and try to use this as a teaching moment, because
to focus on the victims of crime.
Yes, and for years, Trinidad and Tobago, you know that the TTPS has been on the front line. Of all the arms of the protective service, the TTPS has always been on front page, followed by prisons. Because, as you know, in these institutions, they hold their personnel to account, especially the prisons. Look how many prison officers got arrested for trafficking. And every commissioner had their share of dealing with the public and some of the feelings of their institutions. Even the Defense Force, the regiment, you've heard it. We have people from all arms of the protective service in prison right now, either on remand or serving time. However, the police service, which is the first line of communication between us and national security, or first line of interaction, have found themselves in different positions and in varying degree of stress for every commissioner that sat there. The thing is, when are we going to finally use it as a teaching moment? So this morning what we plan to do, and the plan B now is to DCP admin Junior Benjamin gave out some instructions and going forward so that we all can understand what is required. This is what they want, folks. They are in charge, and whether some of us may like it or not, it is coming from, but there's nothing wrong with protesting, by the way. However, we're going to show you that, and then we have some footage from body cameras from around the world. We'll see there's an incident happening in Jamaica recently. I don't know if you saw that. Listen, people, I am not of the faint of heart. I am not.
Show that video today.
We're going to show you all how police could get themselves in real trouble, and this is not a Trinidad and Tobago problem alone. Because just recently in Jamaica is the quickest draw and fire I've ever seen from any police officer or even military personnel. Listen, this man is a crack shot, but he missed killing someone else. He would have ended up with 2 dead bodies on his hand. Because when the bullet exited the driver's head, a female at that, it penetrated the back glass, the back window. And listen, there was someone standing inches from that. Now, we're not showing you that for drama. We're going to show you how body cam, because they wear body cameras in Jamaica. And there was a call right away for release of the footage. Then we'll show you one that happened in America, where an officer was exonerated because the body camera showed what he did. What are we asking here, or what we're going to ask here now to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Are we going to force the hand of the state and the TTPS to finally, and once and for all, implement the use of body cameras? We could do it, folks. We can do it. It's just the will and the right of the officer to be protected from malicious accusations, and so too protection of the public. We've said that over and over. And we'll also show you the one that happened here. And I think with T&Tech, right. Yes. And I think this should be a teaching moment again for the TTPS. Because now you don't have to worry about where you get any body cameras. Talk to T&Tech. And T&Tech will tell you what equipment they have for their officers, and just get it and let's get it on. That's all we're saying this morning. So you know, on our independency, we've always protected the protective service. What we would like to see, a repeat of what Mr. Jacob did. If you all remember, when Mr. Jacob was Commissioner of Police, Mr. Jacob came right in the studio here. I think Mr. Archie was the man, I'm mistaken. But And Mr. Jacob took an hour call from the public. I don't know if what he heard from the public he ever implemented before he left office. However, he took the time to sit here for 2 hours. And for hours straight, he just took calls from the public. For the public to speak about their interaction with the police, how it affects them, the public, what they can do to change things. He did that. Maybe this commissioner can think about that. You don't have to do it here. All I'm saying is that the perception of him right now is, for most members of the public is not cool. Although we've had interaction with him, Natasha, remember, every morning, we stand up and we had a nice little conversation with him. He's a cool brother, but he's not perfect. And granted, the way things happen, it is said, and I mean, we could all agree, some things he didn't deal with in the proper manner. And that is what have the public up in arms. So maybe he could try to do it. Me?
No, me. No, me.
Yeah. So maybe he could try that and see, but without wasting time, in this first part of the program, we will play for you, Natasha. You could tell them who we're going to hear from outside.
And
because
just to extend on what you're saying, Garth, we want to highlight why some of the issues that you just mentioned in terms of public trust and transparency, why it matters.
Yes.
Because we cannot expect to have trust in those who are charged with the responsibility to protect and serve us, the citizens, without that institution also delivering on their mandate to be transparent and accountable for their actions as well. It goes both ways. And as Garth mentioned again, the introduction of body cameras, which will, as demonstrated around the world, which will contribute to the public trust and transparency that members of the public are seeking right now. Not just because of this controversial incident that happened with the Samaru. This has been happening ad nauseum, as they say. This is not the first time it's happened. And this is why the introduction of body cameras is essential to maintain the public trust and to achieve the levels of transparency that we seek from an institution like the police service. So we are going to share with you the content of the DCP admin Junior Benjamin's pronouncements after the protest in Port of Spain, and how the police has laid out what the rules and regulations are for conducting protests in certain areas. So we're going to play that in its entirety. It's broken up into a few clips, but it's just about 2.5 minutes so that we can be fair and balanced and give the police their say. So that's video A, Shortman.
Yes.
So
right.
while Shortman is video A, Shortman, but before you do that, play video S, please, which is the disclaimer that we had prepared for today's program.
Yes.
Play that one first, S, and then go straight into A.
Yes, because people memory short here, and we don't want to end up in trouble. I don't want when I leave here put a squad car waiting outside the station for me, not us. And you know why it's easy for me to follow these instructors? I know what prison is already. So I don't have to be reminded again. I already know. So I keep it myself and Natasha out of prison. All right? So and we have no desire to work at RMR at a full-time basis.
No.
So let's, Shortman, ready with the disclaimer first, and then you tell them what is it?
Yes, the disclaimer, and then video A, which is the DCP admin, Junior Benjamin.
Okay, let's go.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Ion Dependency, its hosts, producers, I-95.5 FM, its management, or affiliates. Some matters discussed may relate to ongoing investigations or issues currently before the courts. This program does not seek to determine guilt, innocence, or liability, and encourages viewers and listeners to allow due process to take its course.
Corporate communication would have sent out a release stating that no permission was granted. Nevertheless, it was done, and again, the police ensured that we were there early enough, and we spoke to those who were in charge, letting them know what is required. This is a silent protest. This is a one where we believe that when we say that, we are saying that at least there should be no chanting, no loudspeaking. There should be no audible, communication in terms of loudspeakers, etc. These things were explained, and again, when persons started to violate those conditions, they were warned, and when, again, after being warned, then actions were taken. Regarding the arrests made during yesterday's protests, the police officers, as far as the police service is concerned, on the grounds that they acted, it was based on the assessment of the situation and in accordance with the existing legal framework, including current public safety regulations. The matter remains under review, and due process will be followed for all persons involved. We understand that this case has generated strong public reactions, particularly because of the circumstances surrounding the death of Joshua Samaru and the charges to be laid following the legal advice from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. However, we want to urge the public today to, first of all, do not prejudge this matter, as it is now before the judicial process. We also appeal to the citizens to avoid misinformation, inflammatory language, or actions that may escalate tensions and endanger public safety. Our priority as the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is to ensure that our citizens remain safe. We want to ensure the protection of our democratic rights of all citizens and ensure the preservation of public confidence in the rule of law. I want to also take this time to remind persons of Section 11 of the Emergency Powers Regulations, subsection A, that states that we must endeavor, whether orally or otherwise, not to influence public opinion in a manner likely to be prejudicial to public safety.
Right, so thank you for staying with us. That was the statement made by the DCP administration, Junior Benjamin, following the protest that took place in Port of Spain, where we saw that riot police were called in and it became a scene. So the police has laid down the law, so to speak, literally, in terms of how people are supposed to protest during this state of emergency.
And please be reminded that if you get permission to protest or assemble, the police will be there to protect you because you got the permission to do it. However, if the police says, do not come, and you still decide, and you let the world know I still going, then the police will assume you want fight, and they'll come prepared for fight. It's that simple. So what people saw as an overkill of security personnel is really how forces operate. If they're going to look for 2 men in the bush, they're not going to send 3 soldiers or 2 soldiers. They will send 10. That's how it works. So they always have to have that measure of control of the situation. So it's not overkill really. It's a standard operating procedure really for protective service to do that.
Does that not add to the escalating tension that has brewed after this major incident that everybody
it
saw?
It will. Why? Because we say don't come, and you'll still decide to come. So let me say it again. As I said before, if the police, you ask for permission to do it, and the police says yes, then the personnel that will be there will be to protect you, Because remember, there'll be people who are against what you protesting against too. So the police have to protect you. However, if the police says, do not come by the radio station, we tell all protest everywhere else, but don't go here. And you all decide, you could say what you want, we go in. Then what that says to the police is, well, okay then, we have to protect the property. You could now picture this. You could imagine if the DPP had decided to leave during that gathering outside there, what would have happened? Think about it. You know somebody who wants to impress everybody with a dive on the bonnet and roll on the ground and all this kind of thing. And
I don't.
the police,
But I
you
mean,
doubt?
I don't.
Listen, somebody would have tried to really parade themselves too. Or they would have blocked the vehicle, they would have tried to demand who inside the vehicle, and the police couldn't have that at the DPP's
Where's
office.
the balance between a citizen's right to protest and the police's obligation to protect, as you say, property? Where's the balance struck in that? Because the police have the resources to clamp down, as you say, and to be the aggressor in this circumstance. But what if they took a different approach?
What is the balance? Know the law. And know the structure of the law and the chain of command. The DPP does not investigate, he does not arrest, he just signs off on evidence that's presented to him.
Yes.
Whether he agrees with it once he don't agree with it, he sends it back. Once he agrees with it, he signs, right? If the population educate themselves on that law of the chain of command and how it operates, they won't even bother with the DPP. Because if you follow, that's the balance.
Right.
They wouldn't bother with the DPP. If we really understand the chain of command and how it works, the DPP has we shouldn't even be talking about him. This is what I'm saying. So if the population understands the chain of command, then the DPP will be totally left out of it. Yeah, you want to go after the Homeland Security Minister, and fine. Or the Commissioner, right. But not the DPP. And this is the balance that should be be met with.
What then is the responsibility of the police during these periods of clear public anger and outrage about something that happened involving police?
Well, we're gonna show that this morning because we interviewed commissioners of police in Canada, Vince Hawks, and Peter Slowly.
Yes.
They were gracious enough to accept an invitation for us to come there and a request from us to come to their office in Toronto and interview them. This is because, and what year we did this, remember?
Slowly was in 2010, and
Right.
Mr. Hawks was in 2014.
Good. The reason why we did this because since then we've been having these problems and
Yes.
discussions about body cameras and our police service.
Yes.
So we said, you know what? Let's go to the first world country where we send people to train and hear how they view the interaction with police and the public. And so we'll play that for you this morning.
Yes.
2 or 3 short clips and hear what Commissioners Hawks and Slowly had to say about community policing and the ordinary police. See here their take on it. You will get your chance in the next hour to tell us what else our police service should do to better their image. Because right now we're not looking good for them.
No.
And let me tell you all something. The only people who are protected by the powers that be, protected by the police. You, the average, not all politicians protected by police. You know? So don't wait for when it gets big, because you notice it's getting bigger and bigger. It was the 4 men in Mova, the 4 little boys by Republic Bank. Now this. What's next? Or who's next? No wonder why they have to give diplomats their own plate now, because they have to protect them too. From who knows why this happened? Could have been interaction with a diplomat and a police officer, because they don't do anything here just in a vacuum. So think about it. Let's see how.
No, I was just gonna interject to say that a lot of people are leaning on this, and you just mentioned it about understanding the law and the importance of rule of law and all of that. Granted, yes. But where is this need for the rule of law when we driving on the road? When we beating up our siblings and children and women in this country? Where's the rule of law when we mistreating animals? Why are we only focused on the rule of law when it comes to citizens raising their voices in protest, which is their constitutional right?
You want me to answer that?
I'm just asking. I'm asking because that is the train of thought. That is the kind of language that we are hearing people use, right?
Right.
We have to respect the rule of law, but we only hear that conversation when citizens are raising their voices against injustice. Why is that?
Because I think it's not in our in most leaders in this country. Check it out in their DNA to take it on the chin and
Yes.
come back with an apology or come back with empathy.
Yes.
It's not common in Trinidad and Tobago. You know that.
Yes.
I mean, even from politician to public servant to protective service, it's very difficult
It's not
to
part
be
of the culture.
to be humble and say, how many times has it been done? Think about it.
It's
Think
very
about
rare.
how many times you hear any commissioner, past or present, say, yes,
We handle this the wrong way. We promise
yes,
to do better.
I'm sorry. And think about it. Or politician or public servant, think about it. It's not in our DNA. However, it's something that could be acquired. And the higher you go in public service, you have to prepare yourself for that and extend a sort of humility in the face of adversity, in face of cameras and microphones in your mouth, for you to respond to this. You have to know how to couch your language and how to be graceful in dealing with any issue. It happened with Mr. Jacob. Remember when he went down to River State or when the incident happened and he made the comments I'm sure he wasn't proud of afterwards. And we should try and not go down that road. And that to me is something that has to be acquired the higher you climb in rank and being able to de-escalate rather than inflame.
Yeah, agreed. And that kind of
yeah.
language we expect to hear from leaders in the society wherever they reside,
So they're not perfect. They're not perfect people. And
We should encourage that.
right. So before you know what happens here.
Yes.
So we
Wanna
talking
go straight
public
to-
trust matters, why transparency matters, the role of evidence in controversial incidents, and introduction to body cameras.
Yes.
Folks, at some point in time, we will have to do it, and don't wait until it's somebody that we really cannot ignore any longer before it happens. Let's lobby for it. Let's advocate for it.
Yes.
Taking a batch of recruits, part of their training gear that they will be issued must be body cameras. Let's start there. Even traffic wardens should have body cameras.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
remember, traffic wardens encounter some people
Yes,
too.
and they literally on the road.
Yes.
So, yes,
And they could collect more data. Or, as we like to say, pilot projects, start with the traffic wardens.
Yes.
Equip
Yes.
all of them with body cameras.
Because members of the public too have a way of dealing with traffic wardens too, eh?
Yes.
You know who we are. Mm-hmm. Members of the public.
Yes. So let's go to a quick break. And in this break, you'll hear about alcohol withdrawal symptoms.
Yes.
We thank Junior Holdings Limited once again.
Yes.
And Caribbean Tourist Villas, Harvey Boris, thank you very much. And you get this, and we come back with the body cameras, the case for transparency. And we will show you that body cam traffic stop. Those of you who didn't see it, we'll discuss that. And then maybe you can form your opinions from that, from just looking at that incident with the police officers.
What does that incident teach us?
Yes, the public, the member of the public who chose to challenge the police rather than listen. Remember, the police have to encounter some citizens too, some citizens from hell out there.
Yes,
And
not
I
easy.
keep saying to people, a police officer stops you, you're wrong, officer, sorry, thank you very much, and go your way. Yes, some of them rough, some of them don't know how to speak to people, but that is something you cannot vet. No
But
lie
it
detector
can.
test could detect that.
Well, in other jurisdictions, they try their best to do that,
Let's-
as we will hear from our Canadian colleagues.
Right, let's go to a break quickly. We'll be back.
51-year-old man comes in and he hadn't drank in 3 days, 72 hours, comes in sweaty, tachycardic, kind of getting lethargic. We're trying to figure out what's going on. He's starting to have some audio and visual hallucinations. So people say they worry about the alcohol that's toxic level, which would be 200-300. I worry about the guy that has ethanol level that's 0, that hadn't drank in 3 days, because he could start to go into what's called withdrawal. And the biggest fear for us is what's called delirium tremens, and that's where he starts to have the hallucinations. Now the guy progresses from the DTs to seizures. We cannot get him to stop seizing, so he ends up in status, which is status epilepticus, which is a super, super dangerous situation. We end up intubating him, giving him benzos, Ativan, Valium, and sending him to the ICU for that supportive care that he needs. So if you have a family member and you see these symptoms in them, and you know that they are a consistent drinker, and they tell you they feel off, this is one of the hallmark signs of a person going into alcohol withdrawal. It is a very, very serious emergency. Get them to the hospital as soon as possible. Follow me for more ER truths.
Looking for reliable, professional, and hassle-free vehicle care? Then visit Juniors Holdings Limited, your one-stop auto shop. From routine maintenance, diagnostics, air conditioning, electrical, engine repair, inspections, and much more. They keep your vehicle running at its best. Need convenience? They also offer pickup and delivery services, interior cleaning, and digital billing for a faster, smoother experience. Whether it's maintenance or major repairs, trust the team that puts quality first. Visit them at 5 Methuen Street, Woodbrook, or Enterprise Street, Longdenville, Chaguanas. Call or WhatsApp today at 307-1214 or 688-9196. Email juniorsholdings@gmail.com. Juniors Holdings Limited. They got everything your vehicle needs. Make that call today.
You're listening to Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and we are moving a little different from the promo that you would have heard all week. We are talking really about policing, about public trust, about accountability, and sharing some of our own content, interviews that we have done. We have shared the official statements of the police and the DPP on the controversial matter that we all know about. And now we want to turn our attention to the main thrust, something that we have been advocating for years, and that is the implementation of body cameras for police officers. We want to discuss, after we watch this video, we want to discuss how body cams protect officers, how they protect citizens, how it can reduce false complaints against the police, how it can improve on evidence collection, how it can de-escalate situations between the police and the public, and reduce suspicion, because we know that the public are largely suspicious of police, so the body cams can reduce public suspicion of police.
Yes, they can, and rightly so. The public must be, because again, people can speak about just different experiences dealing with police officers, but like I said, there are things. Before we go to this, quickly, let me just say, you see, recruiting is like harvesting fruits, or fruits that's for the shelf. So remember, all Armed Authority Protective Service have to have a quota each year, right? And the government say, or the ministry says, you will recruit 200 people, they have to recruit 200 people. However, during that recruiting, when you pick in fruits, once it's for the shelf, you're not going to have a blemish on it. They put it aside, right? How many of that, how you could spot those blemishes in the fruits that they pick in? Or if I could borrow a line from the DPP, the fruits that that presenting themselves for selection. How you could detect, you can't detect all the blemishes. So these are chances they have to take. Now, there are certain questions you can ask on recruiting boards and recruiting times that
would detect
the
blemishes
right,
and the flaws.
but all of them wouldn't know that. I've offered myself to be part of that many times with the police, with the defense force, because there's certain questions I'm sure they don't ask, and these are the fruits that slip through the cracks. Let's go to the clip.
Yes, that's video E Shortman. It's about 5 minutes long, and I don't know if you could fast forward, but it shows the entire interaction. So if you haven't seen it in its entirety, we're going to share it with you now.
This is the incident with the this charge of accident. Let's
I was sorry because it was kind of hard to get.
Yeah. You take it down.
I was sorry, but I'll put it on the phone and
sorry.
So with the body cam, the T and Tech was getting the footage. So they go into the vehicle now to speak with the lady. Here's this.
Yeah, so the woman police is speaking to the driver.
So you were one.
She has paper in her hand, and I
supposed
think
to be arrested, ma'am.
that
Right?
she
I
was
identified
issued a
myself to
ticket
you. Everything is recorded on consequences for the camera, right? This is
or two. So she's handing her back now the tickets and her license. And now she's asking the lady to move her vehicle.
This is a lawful instruction to move the vehicle from here.
Good morning, ma'am. Please be informed that being recorded by body cam and no parking area. If you see vehicle move, yeah, vehicle there. Right. And we are telling you it's no parking.
You'll notice that the officer who came, the male officer who's now in front of the vehicle talking with the driver, said that you're being recorded on body cam. Now, the person recording on the body cam is not from the TTPS, it's from TNTech. And everybody's trying to convince the woman to drive. She's refusing to do so. She starts a vehicle because she's been instructed to move the vehicle, so she starts the vehicle. And she starts to drive off. It is at this point that tensions escalate. The door is open, she closes it back. Police are trying to get her out of the vehicle. They are physically removing the husband from the scene. The male officer is not a male officer. The woman police's firearm was also discharged. I don't know if it was already, if you paid it, but her firearm was discharged. It is alleged that it was accidentally discharged. And that's something else I want to do. But you see how clear and crisp this body cam footage is, right? So the husband is now being detained. His handcuffs are going on him now. And we assume that the woman in the truck is also going to be detained. No word on what has happened to the woman police who discharged her from, right? That is unfortunate. That we, and again, we don't know anything about the woman police, but the woman is still in her vehicle and I think they're trying to
And why do you want to block and down every day, boy?
So yeah, I had a
I'm sure neither of these.
She can't be getting on to all it know how that one officer is then. All it know how the woman officer is. But you know what the woman officer is. All it had to get out.
The reason why we're showing you this video is to
That one officer too
show
crazy,
one,
Jen.
the kind of quality audio and video that body cam can provide. Because it shows exactly what the interaction with the civilian and the police officer is. It showed the moment when the woman police put her hand on her holster. It doesn't show when she actually discharged the firearm, but you heard the shot. And to me, that we don't know how many years service she has, what kind of training she's received, or anything like that. But to me, to have a police officer on the street who is unaware of how and when to discharge your firearm is a threat to public safety. And that shouldn't be. The citizens should not be afraid to catch a bullet from a police for a traffic stop, or to have to deal with a police officer who is not au courant with her firearm, which is, something we have spoken about, that the firearm should not be your only weapon. As a police officer, you should have a tool belt of instruments that would help you to do your job. Your firearm cannot be the first and last option.
And this is what we discussed with Vince Hawks.
Hold on, Tamika.
Yes, this is what we discussed with Vince Hawks and Slowly. So in an attempt to let you understand, to bring a balance to this program this morning, we're going to say in all fairness what we learned. And we wanted to share that with you. We were eager to share that with you.
Yes.
So let's go. Could we go to that now, or the body cam, or we should finish show that? And I'm sorry, I just stepped out for a moment, folks. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency. We know you were supposed to be hearing from Mr. Christopher Samaru this morning. However, we regret to inform you that because of the release of the DPP and instructions passed down, we decided to not go into him.
People are hyped to hear him this morning.
Yeah, I know.
Because they were here in the ad.
Yes, and we're real sorry, but I'm sure we will. Maybe if we have the authorities and the police understand why we want him here, because he made it a point to let us know. He said, why you think, because we asked him, how come you never been to a protest? We never seen you in a protest. And he said, look, he supports everything that's going on to keep this justice on the front burner. However, he don't think it was necessary or, publicity wise for him to be there as well in the protest. The young lady's doing a fantastic job herself and her crew. Yes. It's just that, and we could delve more on that, on the right to protest, and is not unfettered right. Yes. However,
and Annette, just to answer Annette's question, she's asking what was Mr. Stamru coming to say. He was coming to talk about how he lost his son, who is one of a twin, how his family is dealing with the grief of losing a child. He had to bury his son.
Yes, and he's a victim of crime.
And he's a victim of crime.
And remember, there's a bill right now, Natasha, that's before the parliament.
Yes,
what is it?
Victims of Crime Bill.
Right. So we were but again, like I said, he would have made nice company for you all this morning after we spoke with him. He was not coming to speak anywhere about this. He's just prepared to let justice take his course, and he's and his lawyer dealing with whatever they have to deal with legally. That was not our role, right?
But
so that's why he was coming.
To go back to the video that we just showed, we have some comments on YouTube. Linda says all of this could have been avoided had the driver complied.
Thank you.
What you said.
Always.
And Paula, who's a guest on our show recently, good morning, Paula, and your family. She says she was right there when it happened. She paid her light bill and was crossing the street to go when the shot rang off, and I ran into Eastern Credit Union. She was really shaken up. And again, that goes back to my point that having an officer who is untrained in the use of firearms, who could accidentally discharge a firearm, that is a threat to public safety.
Right. And I remember mentioning that to someone. This is all about weapons training too, right? Maybe the lady needs to retrain or reprogrammed to how to respond. However, remember there was an incident during an ICE protest where a lady was driving away from the police and she got shot in her head?
Yes.
Right. People, be reminded, I've always said it. You see, when police come to you, there are different types of police with different types of demeanor. And there are some, you could cross some police and they watch you and laugh, get take it and go their way. And then there are some police officers who will not let you get away with even stooping at them. Think about it. So if a police comes to you, you park wrong, and police says, sir, you parked incorrectly or illegally, please remove your vehicle, say thank you, Jesus, and drive off. Do but have to get no talk about, oh God, all you housing poor people, and I just stop for 2 minutes, and all it's a criminal all day, and all this kind of thing.
Mr. Gat, that what you're saying now, we living under the means of how the officer is feeling that day.
No.
And I often use myself as an example. You know how many days I come in here and my mood is stink?
Mm-hmm.
But once this red light here goes on,
Right.
I know that I now hold a responsibility to interact with the nation. Nobody needs to be aware of what I am currently going through.
Understood.
Right?
Understood.
And I think it's too many times where we expect officers to have a conversation with us, and it always comes across as a form of dictatorship. Now, I keep saying, because I am often pulled over by police, I have vast amount of experiences. I've interacted with those who are mindful that, hey, okay, but I majority of the times I've interacted with those who like to say, we in charge here, you know.
Yeah.
We in charge here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the attitude.
And I am like,
Most
if
of them.
that is your attitude, how do you expect me to meet you? So if I'm being honest with you, every time I'm pulled across, I am often guarded.
Right. No.
So I go into the situation already enraged, already annoyed, because majority of the times the officers that I interact with, their attitudes are not welcoming, it's not understanding, it's not giving service oriented,
Right.
it's not giving the myth. And here's the other thing, half of the times when you're interacting with them, they have a dirty look, because many of them don't even have pride in the uniforms that they are wearing.
All right. Now, before we run out of time here, let me just interject here. You know, there's a saying in my world, in the field of counseling and all of that, that I may not be able to change the way you behave, but I could change the way I respond to you.
True.
Good. I have learned over the years, it's the same thing in dealing with police. You and a police, the interaction with you and a police officer could last 10 minutes or 2 hours. It's your choice, how you respond to them. And remember, I just said it's something you cannot vet. How, you know, both of you, Natasha and Tamika, you all can make good hosts together, because you know I know the way you all see life from your eyes, but the way, because of my experience and the way to deal with things, you could make it go left or keep it right. Because I don't want to tell. So we talking to people so far by, well, I'm stupid or you see that. You don't know who you're meeting that day, and they will push back in a kind of way. So what I'm saying, I could change my response to you. I know it's hard sometimes to swallow.
Very hard.
But Natasha, you see me get on inside Marcy already with a lady with the disrespect she gave us. So sometimes I just lose it too. But then, you see, police, that uniform, clean or dirty, I treating them different. I'm not challenging no police.
Only
and you see what this
because-
woman did? You see what this woman did?
Yeah.
Was totally ridiculous.
No, but we are not supposed to be afraid of police. though.
Thank you. I understand that. So
shouldn't be.
then this goes to the administration now. Maybe the state should pay more attention and the police should pay more attention. Remember, there was a time led by Ms. Archie self. There was a customer relations drive to clean up the image of the police service. It is not now we having this discussion.
True.
So again, what I'm saying to Mika and Natasha, that this time police should use this one now as a teaching moment, because the more the shooting is allowed, the more that kind of response is allowed, it is the worse it's going to get, and they're going to hit the wrong person one day.
Yes.
And then even the commissioner and all before the high jump.
Correct.
So they better use this here as a teaching moment. And as we go to the next clip that we're going to show you, which is, Natasha?
Which is, this is an incident that happened in the U.S. where a SWAT officer shoots a suspect.
Yes.
This is someone that they had been looking for. They happened to spot him on the street, and he was shot. And apart from the fact that it was all captured on body cam, I want you to observe, and this is a video that we've shown before. Please observe what happens when the man is shot, what the police officers do to render aid to this person that they have shot, who is a suspect in a crime. I want you to compare that to what you have seen of something similar happening in Trinidad and Tobago.
Or Jamaica, as we will show
or
you
Jamaica,
now.
yes.
Let's do it quickly.
Video F Shortman.
Yeah, this is really telling here, and this protects the police officer or the SWAT officer because it was all caught on body camera. And this is what we're talking about. So when the police write a report and put it out, you can actually corroborate it with what is seen on the body camera. Let's go.
Come here, man.
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Just kill me.
Dude, show me your hands right now.
Me, bro.
Pull your hand out of your.
Myself.
I swear to God, pull your.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Dennis in a second. Get medic, go.
Don't move.
Don't move. Alright, so back down. All you guys are okay.
Don't move. He's got 33 right there.
33 in his hand.
No, it's a walkie-talkie, but there are 33s right here. Don't you move or you're going to get shot, okay? All right? Got it. Yep. That's him. Somebody get out of the radio.
Get us a medic. I'm working on it.
All right, on your belly. All right.
You got cuffs?
I got cuffs. There you go. Thank you, brother. We'll get you help, okay? No, I know, but we can't allow that. All right.
Get some scissors. Scare this thing. Copy on the radio.
All right.
Get him in the car. He did too.
I think.
You did too.
You did. Okay. You good? All right. You good? All right. I know. All right.
Listen to me.
Listen, I gotta roll you off. I gotta get you up on your side, okay? I gotta get you up on your side.
Steering 30.
All right. Where are you hit at, bro? Yep. On your leg. He's all hit right here. I know. He's hitting his arm once. We need a medic here now. Where's our help? Okay. We got him.
So that's a video again, was a SWAT officer and team that shot a suspect. And the reason why we are showing this again is to show that why body cam footage is changing the way that policing occurs globally. The importance of objective evidence. This video was released along with the context of the situation. So it wasn't just released to the public without context, so people would feel like the man was, a regular citizen, or it was provided with context. And why, again, training matters, because you notice what the officers did as soon as he was shot, right? Not only did they put him in handcuffs, but they called for a medic. Because they don't want the person to die on their hands. That's not what they're there for.
You see, when I see that kind of thing happening in Trinidad and Tobago here, then I'll say our police service improving in the way they do things and operate. I hear people try to justify putting people they shot in the back of a vehicle and saying they're rushing them to the hospital. That is not what we saw where we went. I'm sorry.
But if a country has never been forced to be held to accountability we can't expect particulars because remember, they have to account for that situation, you know.
Correct.
When you get back into the station, you have to account for every detail that take place there, you know. That
Yeah.
is recorded,
Yes.
you know.
With people
And
in
we-
suits too.
Okay.
You know.
Right. Okay.
You know, not
Yes, they have superiors that they have to
Yeah.
be responsible.
Yeah.
And we need to see a different way of doing business,
Yeah.
like preserving a crime scene.
Yes.
Someone is shot. We know what A, B, C, D supposed to look like, and we're not seeing that. And this is why people are calling for that type of accountability. Now you will see what happened in Jamaica.
Yes.
Let's
Oh,
go
boy.
across to Jamaica.
This one
Totally
and-
different.
Yeah,
So
we have a disclaimer at the top of it, but please be warned that this is very graphic footage. It's very difficult to watch, but we feel it's important because this is the same kind of behavior that we see in Trinidad and Tobago.
Not like this. I've never seen anything like this one.
Well, in terms of
But-
the putting the woman's body in the back of the
Yes,
truck.
yes. After
That
they
part.
shot her is what incensed people, and we have to change that, boy. We don't look good. I am sorry. Is the job of medically applying aid is not for the police officer. You just have to stabilize the person till the ambulance comes.
Correct.
And that way you preserve a crime scene.
Correct.
And that way we have a proper, better way of the public seeing that investigations are conducted. That is what the
So-
public are asking for.
Yes.
So, but look at this.
Yeah, and this video also exposes again that there's similar challenges that we face in the Caribbean with policing. What are the public expectations of police? The fact that split-second decisions have to be made by police. You'll see the split-second decision that this officer made, and the need for consistent standards in how police interact and engage with the public, especially when there's a firearm involved.
And there's a black maxi. I think it's a one seven-seater facing where that I guess would be north, and police have stopped. I think they said there was a protest going on for something earlier on. Right, same police brutality. So the officer approaches the vehicle from the back first and goes around. The driver opens the door, and another police officer is to the front of the vehicle. Now this is, as I said, a maxi type vehicle, and people start exiting the maxi, the seven-seater, the Jamaican version of maxi, and maybe, I don't know why they asked her to empty it, but she emptied the vehicle, and the officer now he comes, the lady comes around. No, the lady, some passenger takes change from the lady while the police interact with her on the driver's side. Now they are right-hand drive, right? Good. So the interaction is going on, and another police officer is standing to the front. Is that him to the front there, as yet, of the maxi? Right. Now this is the guy who is going to fire the shot. Now we look at if police understand collateral damage, this is a perfect example. And I've always said to people, when you shoot someone, now the lady's about to drive off. Look, bam, he fires a shot. Now, you might be able to see it. People use the phone for you to see it. The back right side of the windscreen has a hole in it after the shot is fired. And there was a lady standing right by the post there. That she lucky to be alive. So this officer now would have had 2 bodies on his hands. Of course, the crowd is incensed because the shooting was really uncalled for. She didn't try to drive at him. She turned right. She went right hand down to move out of the way. Now they're going to take her out of the vehicle. Drag her out of the vehicle. Yeah, it depends on that close quarter situation. So you can look. Now they pull her by her legs, they drag her on the road, hold by both hands and legs, and they 1, 2, 3 up and throw her in the tray of the pickup. Now I want police officers, Trinidad and Tobago, to look at this side. If you have some time, look at this. This is how this is some of the things we see happen right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Now tell me if, looking at your counterparts in Jamaica, you find that look good? You find that look cool? And they had to force the tailgate closed, and they drove her just about 10 meters, and the tailgate dropped. So her body is exposed now to the public again. And she's just in the fetal position in the back of this. And if you look at it, the tray, the tailgate pops down. There you go. So now, you expect Jamaicans to respect police? You expect human beings to respect police? When you see they do something like this?
No, and again, people say, oh, we must respect the police, but police respect needs to be earned. You cannot tell me that police, because you have a badge and a firearm, that I must respect you. It can't work like that, because your job is to protect me.
Short man, you can show the video again while we talk here. You could turn on the volume. It's really unfortunate what we just. We find Trinidad and Tobago should stray from this look and improve our lot here. I really hope so, that we could reach to that.
God, could you remind me of the arguments against that various commissioners and other officers and even ministers of national security have proffered to defend this kind of treatment of suspects or civilians who have been shot? Can you recall what the response was?
Yeah, well, most of the time is what they said is to rush the person to save their life, rush them to the hospital. But we all know in a car accident or even a shooting, a projectile could be lodged close to someone's spine. And if you move them, that could be the end of it right there for them. You want to lessen the damage to you and lessen the paperwork you have to present on shooting this person. So some people come up with different reasons, but they didn't seem to be incensed by looking at that. You know, and putting somebody in a vehicle and then putting somebody on top of them, and that's
the tray of the truck was full of tires, Garth.
Yeah, that's it's not a good look for us.
That is inhumane.
Yes,
and unnecessary.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and we had to preempt the scheduled broadcast with Mr. Samaru this morning because the DPP sent out instructions, and we just decided that the station, of course, to protect the station, to protect us, that to go to Plan B. All right, so you're listening to Independency. We're going to go to a break, and when we return, well, we have some good news of our unit at least, and then, you want to leave that for later. The counter trafficking unit did a bus recently.
Yeah.
So let's do that before we go to the break.
Yeah. Put up image H there, short man, please.
Yeah, because remember we've been dealing with human trafficking issues here for months. So another arm of the Trinidad and Tobago, or the Protective Service, which is the counter trafficking unit, they had a bus recently called Operation Purple Rain. And 2 people were arrested. You may recognize their names. You know who knows Natasha?
Yes. So the CTU of the Ministry of Homeland Security has filed 27 criminal charges against 2 Trinidad and Tobago nationals following Operation Purple Rain, a sweeping investigation into human trafficking in Rio Claro. Charged on the 26th of May were Ryan Anthony Mark, 46, who faces 18 counts, and Sherwin Marlon Guevara, 44, who faces 11. The charges include offenses under the Trafficking in Persons Act, the Children Act, and the Sexual Offences Act. Allegations range from harboring victims for exploitation to sexual penetration of minors, assault, administering dangerous drugs to a child, and money laundering under the Proceeds of Crime Act. The investigation began after intelligence from Interpol pointed to a suspected trafficking network in Rio Claro.
There you go. So there's your counter trafficking unit working for you folks. As I say, there's a lot of things that a lot of armed of the protective service doing in Trinidad and Tobago and trying to keep this place sane, but it's getting too tense and we have to find a middle ground somewhere. All right, so let's go to a break quick, and when we return you will hear from Peter Slowly about police culture, community police culture in Canada, and what they do, how they handle it, and maybe we could learn something from it. All right, so let's go to that break quickly. We'll be back.
Ion dependency contributes to drug prevention in Trinidad and Tobago through the following efforts. Public awareness. As a registered NGO, it uses its weekly radio broadcast on I-95.5 FM to educate the public on the social and health consequences of drug abuse, trafficking, and addiction. Recovery advocacy. Hosted by Garth St. Clair, who is in long-term recovery, and Natasha Nunez, the program provides a platform for recovering individuals to share their stories, which helps reduce stigma and encourages others to seek treatment. Expert insight. It bridges the gap between policy and lived experience by featuring interviews with law enforcement, policymakers, and community workers. Media outreach. Beyond radio, the organization produces multimedia campaigns, such as anti-trafficking animations, to reach diverse audiences across social media and digital platforms.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that locked up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Tobago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, all right. Don't drop the soap. Carry on.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
You're listening to Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
All right, so thank you for staying with us.
Yes.
So let's go to Peter Slowly now quickly, and of course we have a call to make to someone who wants to contribute to this program.
So hopefully we again, this interview was done with Peter Slowly in 2010, and it was a wide-ranging issue around policing issues. So how do mature police organizations like Toronto Police, in which Mr. Slowly was a commander, how do mature police organizations address public trust? And Mr. Slowly says some very interesting things about police culture as it exists in Canada, but also we can pull a little bit from it in terms of the police culture here as well. Right?
The culture is still predominantly conservative and enforcement. Why did you join the job? To catch bad guys. How do you get promoted in the job? You catch bad guys. How do you get respect, from your peers? You're a tough enforcer. How do you get respect on the street? You're a tough enforcer. There's still that mindset. A lot of that is built on cultural myth, but there is still that mindset. Systemically, you have to rebuild your system where you recruit, hire, compensate, promote people who have a broader mindset and a track record, not just a mindset. It's not good enough just to think it or speak it. You have to have a demonstrated track record. So I've built into not just placing those officers in there, but promoting those officers, verbally promoting them, thanking them for the work, physically being out with them. I give a lot more time to my neighborhood officers. When people say, who's the deputy coming to visit? Is it the unit commander? No. Is it the top investigator? No. He's going out with the neighborhood officers. That sends a signal where my priorities are. All right. I spend a lot of time giving them extra training, extra equipment, making sure that they're valued and rewarded, writing letters of thanks to them. So visibly demonstrable promotion of their work, where people who are still thinking the best way to advance is through just locking people up start to go, hang on a second, There's something good going on over there. So you got to build systems in. You can't just plunk officers out there and hope that they're going to be able to do this. The officers also have to be supported in other ways. They got to go back into the parades themselves, and they're accused by their peers of being soft on crime, as being social workers, not police workers. And so you have to recognize that when you handpick these guys and put them out there, that you need to have their back as well. And so that's something I challenge my commanders to do, is to make sure that these guys are seen as valuable parts of the team, not a separate, different type of policing. You also have to win over the public, because there is a significant element of mistrust. So simply having those officers go out without any effort to introduce them and their program to the public, they'll be met with suspicion, cynicism, folded arms, or worse. And so I spend a lot of time trying to promote the program, explain the program, walk with the officers out in the community. And quite frankly, to tell you the truth, the officers are great. They really have made an effort. They've taken community policing well beyond what I was able to do it in the 90s, and I was viewed as one of the best in the business. I can't hold a candle to them. But equally, it's proven to me that if we make a little effort, the community will come a long way with us. So it didn't take long for those officers to say, we were out walking and talking. The first couple of weeks, people didn't want anything to do with us. After that, they thought, well, this is a fly-by-night program. These guys won't keep it up. They're going to be gone as soon as the summer's over. 6 months into it, all of a sudden, there's this tipping point where you guys are still here. Yeah. You're not going away. No. You're actually going to complete these programs you started. Yeah. And we're actually going to have a role to play in this. Yeah. And you care about what we think are our priorities. We hope we've demonstrated that to you. Yeah. And all of a sudden it tips over where people are coming to them with intelligence information. They're bringing resources. They're opening up their doors. They're bringing their young people to the programs. They're singing our praises. The academics are saying, yes, this is making sense. But it takes about 6 months. It's around that 3 to 6 month mark of committed officer effort. And then all of a sudden you see a huge reciprocation on behalf of the community. And then you got that real set of ingredients you need.
So that was Peter Slowly, Deputy Chief, Community Safety Command, Toronto Police. And my apologies, that interview was from 2014 for our Mission Canada series.
Right. So let's go quickly to Vince Hawks, because we promised to take calls from the public.
We have another one from Slowly to play. You want to play that?
Or should we just go to Hawks?
If you want to just go to Hawks.
Yeah.
Yes, he which one?
Police involved shooting. Let's do that.
So video O, this again is Vincent Hawks. He is a commander in the Ontario Provincial Police, so that's a step above Toronto Police. So they would police the entire province of Ontario. And he spoke about what is the process, the procedure when there's a police-involved shooting.
No, I'm sorry, Natasha. Shortman, I'm sorry. Let's go to levels of force first, and then we go to...
Okay.
Yeah. So
Hawks spoke about the levels of force as well, in terms of how the police engage, how the OPP officers engage with citizens.
Yes, let's go to that quickly. We know there are several situations that a police officer can encounter while on duty, but what are your general rules of engagement for your officers?
What the officers follow is a mechanism that's currently in place, and it's taught in Ontario, on the use of levels of force in order to confront an individual. So if an individual is speaking with the individual and they get aggressive and physical confrontation happens, the officers do not just revert directly to the use of a firearm, for example, that there's steps in place. It's a wheel. The wheel can spin at different levels of force that's there. So you start with talking, and then you may go to hands-on contact, then you may go to the baton, then you may go to pepper spray, to a taser, and you work your way up to levels of force based on the scenario, based on what's happening. If you're confronted with somebody with a weapon, a firearm coming at you, then you can move very, very quickly to the use of deadly force, if need be. But there's a whole process in place, and every police officer in Ontario is trained on that whole process. And they've gone through scenarios, training scenarios, and they've experienced throughout their careers through policy issues, through our internal policy that we would have to say, for example, not everybody carries a taser. The use is limited to certain individuals. So when it comes to that use of force wheel, everybody has a certain level of tools, and then some specialist folks will have added weapons, but everybody has to follow that same process, that same mindset, that a verbal dealing with the individual is always the best way, right, to deal with that prior to escalating the situation.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and you heard that was Vince Hawks from Toronto, Ontario Police, talking about use of force. You heard it. You heard the levels of force that they expect officers to follow, and we would just like to see that. Maybe not, nothing else we can do but present this to you. And to those of you, you all came out from Mr. Samaru this morning, boy. Hello to those of you on YouTube, especially.
Thank you to YouTube.
Yeah, wow. You all came out in your numbers for him this morning. But we will have him, don't worry. I just have to explain to those, the powers that be, what the discussion with Mr. Samaru will be all about. It would not be about the case, that's for sure. Let's go to Vince Hawks again, where he speaks about now police-involved shootings. Let's go to that quickly.
We know there are several situations that a police officer can encounter while on duty, but what are your general rules of engagement for your officers?
What the officers follow is a mechanism that's currently in place, and it's taught in Ontario, on the use of the levels of force in order to confront an individual. So if an individual is speaking with the individual and they get aggressive and physical confrontation happens, the officers do not
he also
revert
discussed
directly to the use of a...
Could I send him a message?
I won't tell him.
Yeah, he also... Yes, so
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also discussed police-involved shootings and how they deal with it, and the levels of the tier 1, 2, 3 positions, how they treat with police shootings out there. All right, so we want to hear from you now. We don't want the time to run out, and we didn't hear from you. And let's hear what would you like to say to the police? What would you like to say? As I said, we want to use it as a teaching moment, and also...
So basically we're asking, should the TTPS body cams be mandatory? Should patrol vehicles have dash cams?
Dash cams.
Should the footage be retained independently? How should they handle the footage? And what protocols should govern the public release of that footage?
Yes, and remember, folks, again, with the protest, keeping this thing with the protest in mind, remember, sometimes it can be dangerous. Let's say, sometimes people...
incident itself.
Yeah, sometimes people can use protest under the guise of wanting to be part of the cause, and sometimes it risks undermining the legitimacy of the case or the cause that's being presented to the public. So the public support for a genuine issue can be quickly eroded if known groups with ill intent found themselves to be part of that movement too as well. So it's a sort of tricky situation, although they said that the exploitation of public gatherings, large crowd provide opportunities for gangs to recruit to as well, intimidate rivals, and this is what I'm telling you, that's why sometimes the police are there to protect the protesters themselves as well. So, there's a potential for violence. So this is why the police have to come prepared, because sometimes these protests can get infiltrated. And the right to protest, again, is, as the rule of law here says, not an unfettered right. So,
yes, but before we take calls, can we play that disclaimer again so that the callers too, this is for you as well. Please do not say anything that may relate to this matter. We don't want to get in trouble, right? We don't want to get the station in trouble. So please keep your comments, brief and to the point.
And we rather donate the money to us now rather than bailing us out. right? I save the money to donate to independency rather than to come and bail us out of prison. So be
Because we
careful.
don't have no bail money.
6223937. let's take some calls and tell us your what would you like the police to know, and how do you want the police to interact with you, the members of the public? Remember, I reminded you all that Mr. Jacob came here and took calls from the public for a whole hour. He opened himself up to that scrutiny and examination and criticism. Yeah. So let's go to the phone. Hello, welcome to Independency.
Yeah, good morning to you, Mark, and the other person there. Very nice show. But what I think is mindful is that police should always be professional in how they conduct their operations, And certainly the pay and pride wasn't, so to always be in focus. Usually when I have an operation and there's a scene and you search, thereafter you would get whatever the police would have recovered. So I have seen raids done and they come on television and they show all the ammunition and the arms that were recovered from a scene. And I think going forward for transparency and public trust and confidence, it should be a learning lesson going forward. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning to all. I want to say I was very, very disappointed in the change of the program this morning. I was looking forward to it. But I want to congratulate you on the way you all, I see why you turned it around, And I want to congratulate you on the format this morning, and I wish you all the best. That's all.
Good morning to you all just on YouTube, Leon and Shari and Rosemary and the whole set of you.
Ronald Lester, who is on the program. Good morning, Wendy.
Who?
Ronald Lester from Alta.
Okay.
Dexter, Leon as usual, Sharolan.
Yes, pleasant morning to all of you. Thank you very much. I know you all would have wanted to hear Mr. Samro this morning, but we will have him, don't worry. Hello?
Hi, good morning, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
You're quite welcome, brother. Let me ask you $1 million question, one that you can't answer and I cannot answer. Where do you think the projectile went from the gun that the police woman fired off the other morning in the traffic stop?
Well,
any idea where the projectile ended up?
I think that would have hit the ground because if she was reholstering her weapon, it should have hit her toe or the ground.
Well, will it hit the ground, but where would it end up?
Where would it end up? Yes, well, we don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And anyone could have been shot with that ricochet off the ground.
Yes.
And that is the danger in having untrained personnel with firearms.
Yep.
You never know where the projectile will end. You know it left the barrel. Where it ends up, you hardly ever know.
Yes.
Yep.
Have a wonderful day, my brother.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, thank you for calling.
That is quite correct.
Not only that, and I think she needs to go back to the barracks and do some weapons training, because it either was nervousness, because you see, if it was a revolver, I would have more forgiven it, but a pistol, which has more more mechanisms because you can fire it. Now she has to be
explain to us
working.
the difference between a pistol and a revolver, please.
The pistol.
Very quickly.
Okay, the revolver is the one with the barrel that the magazine ejects to the side.
Yes.
The one that spins when it's 6 rounds.
Yes.
Right, that's a revolver. Okay. The pistol, on the other hand, has a magazine that goes into the butt of the weapon that holds 14 rounds in some cases. Right. And you have to actually operate the working part on the pistol to put a round in the chamber and then move the safety catch in position to fire before you fire. All that has to happen before you fire a pistol. So we don't know if she had one of the breech before, or the weapon was made safe.
And why would she have it on a bullet in the chamber?
We don't know. This is what I'm saying. We don't know. And you see the way the camera was angled, we didn't get to see if she carried out that procedure first. Of arming the weapon before, or Now, when you reholster your weapon, your finger not supposed to be on the trigger. So, again, maybe the lady was nervous, the officer was nervous, or she needs some retraining. We don't know. But it's unfortunately, nobody got injured
Thank God.
because of it. But I think she needs to speak with her instructor soon. If not, it hasn't been done yet. Hello, good. Welcome to our Independent 622-3937. And in the meantime, again, folks, for you out there, this is your chance to call in. You've been talking about the police whole week, and you've had a problem. How the way the police do things. You've heard from Tamika, you heard from Natasha. So let's hear from you. Or you okay with what's going on? You're prepared to wait for the police to do their job?
Or you on the side of let the process take its course? And I want to say something about that. Again, with the similar to the whole rule of law conversation, this thing about letting the process take its course. What evidence do we have that the process works for citizens? How are we to trust a process that is designed, is not designed for justice? It's a legal system, it's not a justice system at this point. In my view, in my humble and respectful view, you cannot expect people to trust a process or a system that is not designed to serve you.
So you all have a chance to speak this morning. Call 622-3937. Waiting on you. So you all tired talk now, or is it that again?
No, we want to hear you.
Yeah, no, we want to hear from you. 622-3937. Call us and tell us what the police, or is it that you tired tell the police what to do? Because we could reach to that point too. And
or we just decide to hush. We just had to take with licks and hush. And just, not say anything for fear of, the repercussions of that. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Morning, ma'am. Morning to Sir, morning to the program, morning to Channel Diego.
Morning.
Well, I just call in to say the problem I have with this whole scenario with the police is that society, having the police believing that as you see a black man walking down the road, or you might have a little dread on your head, you're attacking. Yesterday I went to collect salary, went to our ATM, the police just see me just so, attack me. But all we have to do is shut up.
When they say attack you, what do you mean? How did they approach you?
Walk up to me, we're going on to you, all right? Everything good with you? Take. So I would stop him. I say, officer, because he's paying goods. He say, yes, officer. I say, well, big man, everything good. I know meant by the ATM to withdraw my salary. In that way. So you interact with him and then escalate it where you can make it be a little more worse. So we have to do as a society is to shut up and go to work out this for the population of China today. We'll have a blessed day.
So what you saying, you was profiled?
Yes. And that profiling business is widespread. That happened to my nephew the other day. It is widespread.
622-3937. Hello, welcome to Independency.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, try again. Yeah, there's a little bit too much background noise.
Yes, 622-3937. You can have your say now. Tell the police what you want them to hear. How you think should they have handled this better? Dealing with the public. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, Natasha. Good morning. What's the other call? I remember her name. Tamika, good morning. Mr. Toronto, how are you guys going this morning?
Oh, it's Toronto this morning.
Nice program, whatever. Nice program. However, I want to advise the public. When police stop you in a traffic stop, two things they tell you to do: to maybe shut off the vehicle or whatsoever. Please do not interact aggressively with the police officer. They tell you hand over your insurance, your license, hand it over. The more faster you do that, is the better for you. Okay? Please, I'm begging you guys. And the police in Trinidad are supposed to have on their vehicle a video cam, and on them they have a video on a vehicle. I was that vehicle with my son. I always tell him when you're traveling in your vehicle, do not
do not speak rough to police officer. This anything call me. I was in the vehicle with him, and it was a traffic stop. However, he didn't have any lights. He just put on his light. It was night time, and they put him over right there. I said, stay calm. The officer came out with the video cam on him. He get 2 tickets. Well, I tell him, I told him, I say, next time he must do the right thing when you jump into a vehicle. Always tell them, put your seatbelt on, put these things on. But sometimes they only say they have to pay a price for it sometimes. But however, they're telling you, I have a video camera, it's on. There's one on the car, on the vehicle. And you must, I mean, these are things they should have in Trinidad and Tobago. What I see going on, right? To avoid all these things, to avoid all these things. But I want to say other things, but I will stop from there. I don't want to put your program into jeopardy, but I love to understand.
Thank you very much, Toronto. Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Pleasant morning to the panel. God, you were a soldier. I'm a former police officer. A senior officer made a remark with respect to that shooting in Arima with the woman officer. A shot was fired in error. Could you explain that to me?
Can you explain that to us? Because we...
No, I am serious. I don't know. When I trained back in 1973, there's a whole saying, the revolver know when in order. Number one, the revolver must be drawn for a definite purpose. If you know you intend to shoot, where pulling your gun for? You understand? No? And whilst I understand what transpired with the woman officer, I am also saying the woman would have been under some little duress. Because if just got a back on a permit, move your vehicle, and before she could even put the car in gear, or she said, no, give me back your permit. And the officer from T&Tech that would have allegedly give her permission to park in front of T&Tech, he has some questions to answer. Have a good day, people.
Thank you very much for that.
No, it's again.
But
I can't because again, you see, you heard what Vincent Hawke said. Right now, there are different levels of force, and if she had a taser or she had pepper spray or whatever incapacitated the lady, or maybe she tried to shoot the tires. I don't know. It was, excuse me. It was just an unfortunate move to make. Now, police different to soldiers. Now, I don't know if things change. But let me tell you something. You will prefer to give a verbal command unless you attack rather than draw a weapon and fire it, especially in town. Because the amount of questions you will have to answer for that discharge of that round. Yes. What? Them news to play with that because I don't know if things change now.
They have to return firearm and ammunition and account for what is
missing, every
right?
round.
Okay, good.
And
officers don't have to do that?
Yeah, they mean police?
Yeah.
I don't know their MO. I don't know to that extent how they operate with their weapons and arms and ammunition. I don't know if it's stringent. And we saw what happened recently
in San Fernando.
Yes. So that is out of the question. I don't know. Hello to all of those of you on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you join us late, you can go back after the end of the program. Even the police, you want to hear what was said at the beginning, please feel free to come back to the page at the end of the program. And I promise you, Mr. Samaru will be here in the next couple of weeks. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
First time caller. I'm an ardent listener to your program. I'm calling on to talk about the police service and things. They are very wicked. They feel they will stay in that uniform all the days of their life. They don't know they have to come out from that uniform, but woe be unto them, especially the Southern District.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you. I mean, your sentiment is widespread, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that sentiment, unfortunately.
Yes, it's sad to know that we have, and there are innocent people in prison who are not supposed to be there, but some police officer, have them there. It's sad. So there are some people who have no empathy for police at all.
Yeah.
None. Some people just don't have it for.
Hello, good morning to... Hello?
Morning. Yes, you're live on the air.
Good morning to everybody there. God, Tamika, and God Wise. Hear me.
Natasha is her name, sir.
Natasha, that's right. I was in the march in 1970, and the police was very vicious. They was cutting your afro. I don't know where they get that's from. For me to be talking about the police behavior in 2026, something had to be definitely wrong with me. And when I say, as you say, God, there are a lot of good police. They didn't fall from the sky. They came from women and their mothers and fathers just like us. But the little that it have, with that type of behavior, it is a little too much. And as far as I see, they are getting the power from the people in power. And if we continue like that, we will become a police state. I hope that it doesn't happen. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for that, sir. And remember how the police started, eh? The institution of police. Remember how that started. In Trinidad and Tobago, it was a colonial institution meant to keep the subjects of the Queen and the King in line, right? And the laws that we have, some of which are still on the books, the laws were implemented to keep citizens in line. Hi, good morning.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Morning, sir. Morning. It's still
Morning. Let me tell you something. I might be on a different scale. I hope all you ain't get vexed with me. In 19 all coming up from the 19th, early 20th century, police in Trinidad never had guns. They had baton. We had short pants. We had short pants and all them things. The people in the country wasn't so violent. Trinidad have 1.4 million people. The whole system changed. Why people only saying the police brutal, they had to step up according to it. Long time we respect police, we respect teachers, we respect nurses. Nobody have no concern about now. The police is human being as us too, you know. So when now they give them gun, if you have 15 or 20,000 police, everybody has to have a gun. Because they fear for their own life too. So why everybody say the police and it's not scout you have there and it's police to protect. And any part of the world, when you read about Iran, read about Venezuela. When you go in Venezuela have about 50,000 police and they have about 45 million people. So I mean to say we're not saying the police can be disciplined, but not this kind of the advantage what they're saying there, right?
Thank
they
you very much.
criticizing the police. If the police go on strike and they want to work, the whole Trinidad capsize. Look how much invasion and the police have to step up. So the police do the damn. They ain't do. You go in the station, you can't get this, you can't. When the police act, they vex they acting wrongly. I mean to say, I confuse, man. I feel the police and them should stop work and see what happens.
All right. Well, I mean that's a fair opinion. If you think yes, it is an essential service. So I mean, police officers are called out to function in many different areas. But we are looking at how they can be how their service to the people can be improved. I agree with your point that we have become a very violent society. And the police, I guess, is stepping up in response to that. But we do have to look at and investigate how they can improve their service, because they're not a force anymore, they're a service. How they can improve their service to the citizens of this country.
And it's so
Natasha,
ironic.
But before you go, I think people forget that different positions come with different
levels of
responsibility, and accountability.
So to whom much is given, much is required. And it's not a matter of just completely bashing them, it's a matter of identifying where issues are very dominant, and as the nation looking in and having to be under your guard and your protection, this is not something that you're going to take 4 or 5 years to work on. These are things that need to be immediately addressed and revamped. Because we are at your hands. That literally. And then you will come and tell us that it was fired by mistake or by accident.
Inadvertently.
Yeah,
Cool.
Again, and you see, this is the thing. This is the problem I have with personnel on the ground. And I keep telling you all, this is why the Commissioner of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Commissioner of Prisons cannot be everywhere with police officers, you know.
No.
Right? So they now but they now end up having to respond to a lot of foolishness that police officers do on the ground.
Yes.
Right? When this thing started with young Samaru, the DPP, the Minister of Homeland Security, the Commissioner, the Prime Minister, all of them was doing about their business, you know. Is at the end with the video, we saw this, and that is what prompted this whole thing to snowball or spiral out of control. Is the way they did the way they handled it in the beginning. They must learn to admit that.
Yes.
And deal with it from that point of view. I remember Mr. Philbert. I remember James Philbert when he was commissioner. James Philbert was one who will come out of his car and help police direct traffic, just so. Reach late for function and all this kind of thing. Mr. Philbert will come out and arrest a police officer if he had to. Is one of the very few people that, you know, actually opened themselves up for scrutiny and criticism, and they took it as men.
And that's what a leader does.
You know, and this is what police people expecting from this present commissioner. It's not much. It's not too much to ask.
But I think it comes at the parent. It comes at the parent and the child. The parent is not everywhere with the child.
No.
Right?
There
The
you go.
parent instills the morals, the values, the ethics, with the hope of thinking that when I send my child or my children out in society, they
conduct themselves
correct.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when something does happen out of what the parent may think your child is capable of, the responsibility becomes yours to an extent, because
Yes.
Right.
you are in charge, you are responsible, you were the person who was given the responsibility of growing them in a particular way.
Right.
And the reason why the commissioner and all these different people in higher administrations, you all are going to get the jamming, it's because it's the parent to the child relationship.
Very
I don't know
similar.
how that's so hard for people to identify.
It's similar, but I think also because of the nature of the institution, they perhaps feel that they are not bound to account to us, because policing is a very specialized skill and occupation, profession, whatever you want to call it. And basically, if he is not a police, you don't understand what we go through. That can't make sense, because as the citizens, we understand, we know how we want police to function, because at the end of the day, you are serving us.
The police, they really need to do something now, and I think the time is ripe for it to be done now. It's now or never.
Yep.
Because anytime it goes beyond this, and if you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency. We take final set of calls in a moment, but all right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go. 622-3937. Hello, it's your turn. Go ahead.
I think we cannot believe that we still live in 1970 or 1962 in our politics. Tony Lee.
The feedback, are you net or radio?
Sorry. Yeah, but I think we still believe that we live in 1970 and or 1962, according to Tony Lena. Because here it is people talking about what used to happen back then. Today, we have social media, we have cameras, we have already. Only person who don't know anything about camera is the police service. The only person who don't know that they've been looking at is the police, because they don't even want to carry the body cam. You know, and I believe that is a management issue in the police force. The officers and them actually they disobey the departmental orders of the police and the senior police, and them not doing anything about it. They're not doing anything because the police and them, if that is an issued an issued piece of a tool, they need to carry it. They need to carry it. Even if they have 1 or 2 or 15 or 20, they must carry it, but they're not carrying it, just as how they don't want to wear the uniform. Just as how they don't want to wear the uniform, they're not carrying it. So that is what we get into today, and they're failing to realize that they have cameras all over the place today, so that they will be picked up anything. It will pick up in bars and all over the place. That is what is going on in Trinidad. That is what is going on in Trinidad. There is very disobedient.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Police officer, Andy.
Yes, that's a valid point as well. The management of the service and the insistence on applying certain standards and procedures for the officers under them.
Yeah. 622-3937. Hello. Welcome to Independency.
Morning.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to Independency.
There?
Go ahead. Good morning.
Right, I-95.5 FM.
Yes, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're live.
Yes, what I'm calling about. Now, you all spoke about the escalation of the police service in dealing with matters. Now, personally, I would like to know if you cannot ask a police officer a question when they approach you, especially when you have done nothing, there's no road activities going on, and they come to you. It seems as though when you ask a question, just by asking a question, escalates a situation with the police. And then they put it on you, the individual, the motorist. So I would like to know if questions cannot be asked. And then the other thing, if, okay, your question is difficult for them to answer, they try to insult you, and then they say to you, ask the magistrate. Right? When you go to court, ask the magistrate. But they escalate the situation themselves.
Yes. Ma'am, you know, I want to, I can hear it in you speaking from your soul this morning. I can hear it in your voice. We can hear it. And you're right. There are some officers just don't know how, and that is what I told you all, that approaching a vehicle, good morning, my name is Constable so-and-so, can I have your license and registration, please? It's almost like they programmed to just say those things. And if you ask any, what may seem to be an intellectual or challenging question, they don't know how to respond to it.
Right.
So
And
they use their own instinct to do that.
Yes.
You know?
The other question, quickly, if it's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
You go to the police station to make a report or so concerning a police officer because of conduct that you would have either interacted with or seen. These police officers are constables, most of them out there on the roadway. When you go to speak to someone who's a senior to them at the police station, the seniors apparently don't even want to hear what you have to say. They tell you, if anything, go to complaints about it. And if the police officer is right there, and that police officer is under the inspector or the sergeant, they don't take you on. They don't. So it seems as though, now we understand that as adult police officers. However, they are under someone they are the charges of the inspectors and the sergeants. How is it that you cannot get any recourse when you go to the station concerning that? They shut you down. So if that is the case, then it's really a management issue in the stations with the sergeants and the inspectors, because they could get nothing from them. They cannot do them anything. They can't ask them any questions, nothing. So you go there and you get nothing from them at all, absolutely nothing. And they look at you and demonize you. They mark you and they target you.
And that part of it is the civilian part that stays with an officer. So that now he couldn't do you anything all the time. You tell him, you give him some choice words, but now he has the uniform. He could he could pair that off now with the way he tend to deal with things rather than de-escalate it. I am in power now. I have a little authority here, and I could make your life a living hell. You know, some officers think like that. And then I've dealt with officers who does nothing else but try to de-escalate. So, but it's a way to sift them, and I do think that happens. But Cora, thank you very much for sharing your pain with us this morning.
Thank you for hearing it.
Yes, and again, we will have, we've planned it before, but we were interrupted. Remember, our flow was interrupted. But we plan to have Mr. Filbert and, Jerry Goodridge and Watchman and all of these people again, having discussions with them as we did in the past. About the police service.
I hope. Yes, I just hope, but though, with all the discussions, that something come out of it all and changes are made.
Thank you. Yes,
and
ma'am.
We hope
We
that,
hope so
that
too.
the people who need to make these changes are listening, and
no disrespect was meant.
No.
Is you all say it too. You must, to solve any problem, you must admit that you have a problem.
Correct.
50 million Frenchmen could never be wrong. There's a problem with the public and interaction with the police.
Yep.
It's that simple.
And my final word on this.
What can we do to fix it? Before we go, before you put in your final word, let me just say to you and Tamika, remember, the police service, remember how the police service was formed, right? What it was formed for.
Yes.
What it means was, right, because remember, it was to keep us in line,
Yes.
It wasn't to protect us, Police didn't come about to protect citizens,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, I don't know if over the years they tried to change that narrative, but it really was to protect a certain class of people from the lower class people.
Correct.
That's why police came into being.
Yes.
So the training sort of maintained that over the years. It may have evolved a little bit, but the basic idea is, hey, you hire me, pay me your money, but I will talk to you and treat you how I want, and I will protect a certain group from you.
Yes.
That needs to change.
Agreed?
Agreed?
No, agreed. I don't know how.
Tamika, you agree?
My final word is, and this conversation just reminded me of an interaction that I had. You remember what happened with Toruga? So and all the conversation about about the rule of law. I would love if when we mention that phrase rule of law, that it applies to all laws, not just the ones that you think need to be enforced. Because although I was not mistreated, I was frustrated by the inaction, I should say, of the police on a matter that has to do with animal cruelty. And to me, the rule of law should have been applied equally in that instance, because it's a law on the books. Why is nobody else, talking about it? So
that's the credit ruling.
yes, suffice to say, let us when we're talking about rule of law, let us apply it across the board and not just when people protest. That's it.
Right, so Tamika, thank you for allowing us to cut into your time. But folks, we had a nice conversation with you this morning, and I promise you this, that Christopher Samaru will be in studio. Right? I just have to sit with management and we plan the program properly. But this is a growing situation. It's not going to go away anytime soon.
Correct.
We want to congratulate those who kept it alive, and God, including God, because God sent that situation square in the middle of a camera from a home. I think it's one of the clever footage we've seen picked up. And so I want the police service to notice how that happened. It's God do that. Because if we didn't have that camera there, we wouldn't have known what happened. We would have just continued with the report and we would have moved on. Yeah. Fortunately, I would like you all to take that as a sign.
There were eyes in the sky.
That God trying to say something to the police service this time around. And we...
Credits the ruling.
And yes, and we out there, to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, remember the protective service, all members, all arms, they came from our society. And having worn a uniform, I know how hard it is really to serve your country, especially when you have, you know, people, seniors or people working around you who sometimes make your life a living hell. We ain't talking about servicemen who drinking yet to cope with the work. We ain't talking about, we ain't touched that yet.
Abusing drugs, yes.
Who abusing mood or mind altering substances to cope because they have poor coping skills, right? Who join the work just for the work. There are police officers and there are people who join the police service. There are soldiers and there are people who join the regiment. Think about that. It's a big difference. Thank you for listening to Independency today. We appreciate your company, those of you on YouTube and Facebook and on radio. We love you as usual. Thank you for the support and keep the support coming. We're going to keep going as far as we can to continue to educate you. Tamika, thanks again.
Good
Enjoy
afternoon.
and love the police a little bit now.